If you're a lineman in charge of keeping the lights on, Grainger understands that you go to great lengths and sometimes heights to ensure the power is always flowing, which is why you can count on Grainger for professional-grade products and next-day delivery, so you have everything you need to get the job done. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
So we're all officially very famous now. The Pop Culture Junkies filmed a TV interview this week. Were you guys nervous? I was a little nervous, but I think I was mostly just excited. I don't know. How are we feeling?
I was nervous because I've never done that before, and clearly I have a face for podcasting, not television. But it was cool. It was exciting.
Yeah, I was nervous too. I didn't really know what to do because I've never done it before. I mean, I've done theater before, and I guess I've acted on camera, but I had to be myself today. So I feel like that's probably the most nerve-wracking thing to do in showbiz is be who you are.
I mean, I guess I wasn't that nervous, to be honest. I'm used to being in front of the camera for my career field I want to go into, but I'm usually the one doing the interview, not the one being interviewed. So that was a little different, but I wasn't too nervous.
I feel like we all we all did really well, and then when we were done, we were all just super hyper for some reason.
Yeah, for real.
The adrenaline.
The minute we were done, we all were like, yo.
It took us a while to even leave, too. They were like, okay, all done. They put everything away. Everybody was in their desks. We were just over here taking selfies from all their equipment.
Gosh. Also, Alex, you definitely were yourself because you did a little shimmy on the TV.
Oh my gosh.
That's true.
Yes,
Everybody needs
shimmy.
to watch the spot so they can see Alex shimmy because you get Alex's dance moves here in person, but you guys miss out on the podcast. So you got to see it to believe it.
You have to see this shimmy to believe it.
It's really just a shoulder shake, just shake, shake.
He's doing it again, you guys. He's doing it again.
We'll make it a GIF.
So tune in, aztv.com, and there you can watch the replay
of the Junkies
on TV.
Arizona Daily Mix. Coming in hot from Olympus Games in Mesa, Arizona.
It's the Pop Culture Junkie Podcast.
Hello, dear fans. Welcome back to another wonderful episode of Pop Culture Junkie Podcast. My name is Shauna, and I am joined by my fellow junkies, and their names are
Alex,
Nicole,
and Hayley.
And this week we have a very special guest. Whitney Peyton is with us today. Hi, Whitney.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. How are you?
Good. You said my name right, so that was good. That means I've made it, when my name
officially made. You have the blue check mark on Instagram. You've definitely made it.
The first time I was in Arizona, because I'm originally from Philadelphia, they spelled my name on the marquee Whitey Peyton. So that was definitely, now I'm like, okay, I've upgraded. Now they're spelling my name right. They're saying my name right. I think I'm making it.
I almost asked, what other ways do people say your name? I'm like, how can you, Whitney? What
Yeah, just spell it wrong. You wouldn't believe the flyers or marquees when they get the spelling incorrect. It's hilarious.
Well, Whitney, thank you for being with us today. You are a rapper. I met you on a photo shoot where you were my photographer. You're a songwriter, so...
Yeah, just overall content creator, I think. I'm not really a photographer. I was just pretending for the day. I kind of fake it till I make it in every aspect.
I thought those pics were fire.
Thank
Maybe
you.
It's because I was in them.
True, but I think, when you're used to being kind of on one side, it's easier to know, especially when girls know what girls like, too. Mm-hmm. I think girl photographers, no offense to dudes in the room, but it's kind of you're like, I know when another girl looks good, or if you have lipstick on your teeth or something. Guys can't really give as much makeup advice.
You were amazing. You got the best angles. She was on the floor, you guys, rolling in the dirt for all of us.
Gotta make them look tall, you know?
You're committed. I like it. Yeah.
I do look very much taller than I am in real life in those pictures. It's amazing.
Oh, yeah. I'm 5'3". I'm like, you can't be in my music video unless you are this height, so I can't look smaller, If you're over a certain height, you have to be seated. So if you see any of my music videos, I have a video with Matt Good, who's from the band From First to Last, but he lives out here, and he's 6'3" or something, and every time he appears next to me, he's seated, but you wouldn't notice.
Just crouching real hard.
Yeah. So that's kind of the trick.
So speaking of your music, how long have you been creating? You know, you said you were from Philadelphia and then came out here to Arizona. How long have you been making music and making records?
Man, that's a weird question because it's like, how long have I been creating? How long have I been living off of it? Are two separate things, definitely. I mean, I've been writing for a really long time. It kind of started out with spoken word more so, which is more of a like Philadelphia thing. I think it's kind of probably spread out by now, but it kind of started there. And I was always like into English class and just terrible at math, you know, but I was always kind of a class clown and entertainer, and it just transitioned that way. And then I've just been living off of it probably for the past like 7 or 8 years, actually, because I was just like, all right, I'm selling my car, I'm going on tour, and then, you know, I have to make it work or not. So it was kind of like, there's no better motivation than having your back against the wall and just being like, I don't have a plan B, so I better make it happen.
For real.
I actually heard of you because you have played with Echo, who I'm a big fan of.
Oh, awesome.
And so that's the first time I heard you, and I was like, wait, she's local? That's awesome. That's so cool. So I've actually been listening to you for a while, and then when Shauna was like, yeah, Whitney took my pictures, I'm like, what the? Small world. Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, he's great. We toured right before COVID and everything, and yeah, it's definitely been a weird time for entertainment, as I'm sure you guys know.
How did COVID impact, I mean, your career and music, and just how was it the past year and a half or so?
I mean, luckily, entertainment's kind of going to be a thing that everyone always indulges in because it helps you forget all these bad things that are going on. But yeah, it made all of us have to, if touring was our main source of income, we really had to shift it into other things. And that's why you saw a lot of artists start being on Twitch and start doing all these things, because you just had to scramble and shift around, you know, everything. I had a lot of shows canceled, and it was really unfortunate. And, you know, even with shows starting to be back, it's still a very weird climate of not knowing what you're allowed to do. You know, there's still a lot of regulations. And I'm an artist that likes to crowd surf and, you know, jump on people and stuff. So I'm like, how's this going to be received?
So it sounds like you were like creative in your creativity even during that time.
Yeah, and it's totally different seeing people in person. It's a way different energy and feeling that some artists really prefer studio and some prefer live shows. And I'm just like that live show artist because I like need the energy of that crowd. So it was a really big shift for sure.
Interesting.
I saw you hanging from the rafters at the Rebel Lounge.
Yes.
Some videos. I was like, all right, that looks pretty hype.
Yeah, luckily I'm small, so I have yet to pull some sort of piping out of the ceiling at any of these shows, knock on wood. But
If we have some older venues here in Phoenix, you know,
Right.
try ripping some stuff down.
it's a matter of time. It's a matter of time. I need some good insurance.
Who have you toured with? I mean, we talked about Echo, but like,
Yeah.
what's some of your favorite memories from the road and just people you've gotten to perform with?
Well, my first tour was with 3-6 Mafia.
Oh, that's so cool.
Actually.
no.
So talk about being thrown into the fire.
Right.
Like it was
Yeah.
just kind of like, I really did learn from the best, I think, because I had to be on par with these acts, you know, going on the same stage as
They're
them.
pretty wild. They're like very live. I mean, I've never seen them live.
Yeah.
Just
And
by knowing their music.
You're just talking about legends, you know what I mean? So it's like, okay, if I want to be able to hang, I got to like, you know, really give it everything. And you're going out in front of a crowd that doesn't know you. They're there for, you know, whoever the headliner is. So for several years, I was a supporting act rather than the headliner. And you said, you know, Rebel Lounge, luckily I was the headliner of that show, and it's really cool that I've gotten to that point. But yeah, I had to go out, and it's like after, especially if they've had a lot of locals open, they're just ready for the headliner. So you're going out kind of almost with already negative opinions about you, because it's like, all right, come on, like where's, you know, so you have to turn it all around. So it's just always a challenge. I've been out with a lot of different acts, and because I'm kind of different for being in hip hop, I'm not usually paired with artists that are that similar to me. I mean, luckily with someone like Echo, that is more in my realm, you know, but when I'm out with gangster rappers or I'm out with, you know, heavy rock bands I've gone with like EDM groups, like all different kinds of genres, you're not only, you know, getting people to like you, but they're having to like something that they maybe weren't expecting and is in a totally different genre from something they usually like.
I love that. Like going to shows, I try to go as early as I can to things because there are those people who just show up for the main act. But I want to discover new music. I'm constantly trying to find new music to feed myself with. And so I love going and watching the opening acts. And, you know, some are better than others, but it's always such an amazing feeling being like, oh, this is sick. I really like them. And then going home and like downloading their stuff.
Yeah, and
so
generally
cool.
they're brought for a reason. Like, you know, someone liked them enough to put them on their tour because usually they have to approve of it and everything. But yeah, I definitely have crazy stories from tour. You grow up really fast being on tour and having like someone like 3-6. I mean, those shows do get wild. And every night after everyone was gone, all you see on the floor is shoes, confetti, and blood. So, I mean, so you're like, okay, well,
it's a good night.
Yeah, good show.
So if someone who hasn't listened to much of your music and you want them to get to know you as who you are, which song would you recommend to new listeners?
Wow. You know, I'd actually choose this song called Villain, which is off my Alpha album that I dropped last year. It's not my most current song, but it is probably one of the most genuine.
Okay.
So, and it's more specific. And I was kind of, as a songwriter, you're kind of worried to have specific things in your lyrics because the more specific you get about your life, you're like, okay, it's less relatable to other people. Yeah. But then I realized that's not the case because even if someone doesn't have your exact same story, they might share the same kind of feeling that they get from the song and just your honesty in general. I mean, look at artists like Eminem, like he has songs Kim, you know, directly named after, you know, so how specific is that and all the lyrics in that? And, you know, he still has relatable words, even if he's telling his story kind of thing.
That's why I love, like, appreciate artists so much because, you know, I always think about how you can't really see somebody's mind through the naked eye. But when somebody, like, composes something, draws something, choreographs something, writes something, they're expressing themselves. And even though we might not have the exact same experience, we know how to relate to it. And and I think so. I'm going to check out Villain because it seems like, you know, that's an opportunity to like really, at least the rest of your music, obviously.
And for some little pop culture tidbits, Villain, it has a music video for it as well. And I had my makeup done to look crazy, like this wolf I shot in Casa Grande at the Domes and everything. And the guy who did all my special effects makeup is Dali from the show Dragula.
Oh my God. He did a photo shoot for me too once. Also
awesome.
at House of Smalls.
He's great.
Oh my God, he's amazing.
Yeah, he's great. So it's pretty cool too because you wouldn't watch it, if you watch it on mute, you're not thinking rap, you know, which is something that I like about it too. Like if you watch the shows, you think this is rock, you can't tell what it is. And that's kind of what I like, bringing the contrast of, you know, not being just stereotypical outfits. And
this is what people expect from hip hop and from rap music.
Right.
I know. Oh, that's so exciting. That's awesome.
In general, I feel like, you know, female representation in hip hop, you're a minority in the genre. And so you have kind of this uphill climb. And I think you've done a really good job of finding a way to like set yourself apart. Like you said, kind of crossing genres. I was going to ask because of that, because you've got rock and rap influences, like who are some of your favorite artists and the people that inspire you and that you maybe grew up listening to, or the ones that inspired you?
Well, okay, yeah, it's ever changing, definitely. I think the ones, like if we're talking about some throwback icons that definitely inspired me, I mean, someone like Gwen Stefani was super inspiring. She's someone that embodies urban and rock, especially with her looks. I mean, like, look, she like was able to mix it perfectly. She always looked very street and at the same time rock. And then, you know, Pink, Tech Nine, if you're familiar with him, Eminem, Eve from Philadelphia. Like, luckily, we have a lot of really great artists in Philly that we're there to look up to. Meek Mill.
He just came out with a new album recently. Yeah,
and he's awesome, too. So there's just, like, endless talent in Philly. It's really a historical spot, an artsy spot. So I'm fortunate that I grew up in a place where it wasn't as big as New York, so I didn't get lost in the mix as much, but it was still very influential and had a lot of artists come out of it.
That's cool. So what was your first live show that you've like went to? Like which artist was it?
Oh my God, if I admit this, I don't know.
One
One of my friends took me to a Nickelback concert.
Oh no!
And I could have just lied there, but I'm just gonna, I'm just gonna put it out there that my first concert, my first live show. I mean, I've gone to a ton of rap concerts as well, but I just remember he was like, "Oh, I have an extra ticket to this Nickelback show, and no one will go with me." And I was like, "I'll go," But hey, someone likes Nickelback. They've gone diamond.
Yes,
That means someone's got to like them.
That's true.
So, but they're cool.
Mine was like Semisonic, like that one hit wonder of
yeah.
Closing Time. You remember that song?
They just played that
was my
over and
first
over.
concert. I'm like, my mom took me. I think I was like 8 years old. I'm like, why am I here? But
Mine was Backstreet Boys, so I'm cooler than all.
that's cool.
Yeah,
That was they came down from the ceiling on like ropes.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
That's the
That's
Millennium Tour.
acrobat.
Yeah,
right?
it was.
Yeah.
No, yeah, mine was Common, and that was just because it was a free show at the UMass Boston.
My first one was Gwen Stefani. I believe Akon was with her, so it was a pretty decent concert for my very first one.
Nice.
That's awesome.
That's pretty big.
Yeah, that's way cool. So you just put out a song pretty recently in a new music video, and you, like you said, you headlined at Rebel Lounge. What's next for you? What, upcoming tour dates and next shows and,
Yeah. The tour dates are kind of sporadic right now because it is hard to do a full tour with everything happening. But I have a show in Tucson at the end of the month. I am performing with Tech Nine this month. And then I go on a headlining run in November. That's only like a week or two long. And mostly they're Midwest kind of dates. But yeah, I just dropped a song last week with The Game.
With the game, like the game,
The Game, yeah.
like LA, the
Like
game.
G-Unit.
Oh, like G.
You
What?
just blew Alex's mind.
Yeah, for real. You're like official. I feel like I'm like in the presence of like,
greatness.
yeah, for real.
Yeah, we're working on trying to get a music video for that one, but that's with Bag of Tricks Cat, Willie North Pole from up here. That's how we mainly got it because that's one of the game's good friends. But it's actually called On My Way to Phoenix. So
Oh, dope.
yeah,
Okay.
so the
can't
game raps
wait.
about being on his way to Phoenix, and it's
We've
pretty
been
cool.
there, right?
Yeah,
Every once in a while.
yeah, exactly. So that dropped recently, and then the tour dates, and I'm working on a new album as well. So
Nice.
So
What has been your favorite venue that you've ever played at?
oh wow, my favorite venue ever. I'm trying to think. I've played a lot of cool venues that are. I've played like venues that have arcades in them, and venues that have. I don't know. I'm trying to. A lot of times, I like the festival venues that are outdoors because it allows me to do crazy things like go out on the crowd on rafts and things like that. So I kind of tend to like that. But we've played some cool. The Roxy in Denver is definitely a cool one. When I first came out here, I would play Joe's Grotto when it was around, and I always thought that was a cool place because sometimes the more mom and pop kind of venues, they're super nice to the artists and always make sure they're hooked up and everything, and it's not as robotic feeling. And I kind of like playing venues like that just because it's like, okay, yeah, this when you're going to be away from home, it feels nice to have people feel like they care about you or bring you food or bring you, it's like the little things like that because you're eating gas station food all day. There's only so much beef jerky and Doritos. Yeah, but I'd love to sell out something in Philly just because that's where I'm from. So if I could sell out like TLA or Electric Factory or something next, that would be awesome. And then what's next here? Comerica. Let's do Comerica.
Oh my gosh. That would be amazing.
Yeah.
And then we could all come and watch, obviously.
Working on it. Let's do it.
Well, because this is the Pop Culture Junkie podcast, we'd be remiss if we didn't ask a little bit about what kind of pop culture you are into. Like, what are you watching right now? What's your favorite TV show to binge? Your favorite movie that you've seen recently? What are you into?
I was just talking about how I'm excited that Scream 5 is going to be coming out in January with a lot of the original cast. I'm a big Matthew Lillard fan, and I know he's not making it into the fifth one, but I really like him, and they're going to be putting the Woodsbury house that's in California up on Airbnb as well. Whoa. So you can go stay at the house. So that was pretty exciting. And then, yeah, while I've been here, I've actually just purchased this graphic novel by Joe Hill, who I was explaining was Stephen King's son, actually. Oh. So I'm kind of into Lock and Key and a lot of things that he writes. He writes a lot of thrillers and novels, but also graphic novels. So,
nice.
And I'm trying to check out Squid Games because I know everybody's talking about it.
Everybody's been watching it. I've been like, I think I'm on the 4th episode, and it's intense. It's worth a watch.
Yeah, I've watched 2 episodes so far, and I'm like, it's very telling that this is the #1 streaming thing on Netflix, given that it's a show about killing other people for money, prize money. I'm like, what does this say? I'm a little scared.
I think a lot of it is because like while I'm watching it, I'm like, would I make that choice? Like would I, because essentially it's their choice. They decide to play the game.
Right.
So it's like, you know, if my life were in this situation, what would make me have to play this? And I think people, at least when I watch it, I connect myself like that. Like,
I think you're taking it way deeper than the majority of the general public.
maybe.
That is just like, yeah, gore, die.
It is a lot of goriness, but
I don't know. I think it speaks to how desperate can you feel. Like, I don't know. At your most desperate point, would you put your life on the line like that?
Exactly.
And it's like, oh man, there's a lot of poverty and stuff. And
because I also feel tested when I'm watching it. Like wow, is this the point of the game where I'll stop playing?
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna ask myself that once I start watching. Be like, okay, would I do that? Would I do that? Would I do that?
I think it's funny
How much
because
money?
I saw this article that was saying like Ted Lasso, with all the success of Ted Lasso, Apple's like, you know, this proves that what everybody really wants right now is just wholesome, uplifting, positive content. And then Netflix is like, hold my beer.
We need to drop some blood on that.
It's a balance. We need, you know, both. That's why they're on different networks.
Yeah, it's definitely Saul meets Hunger Games.
I was just about to say, it's giving me very much Hunger Game vibes.
Yes.
That's a really good way to put it. It's basically that, yeah.
Yeah. And he sat on that idea. I think the director sat on that idea. Well, he tried to pitch it for 10 years.
Really?
According to a meme, which memes are always accurate. So I was going off of that information, that headline. But it said, he tried to pitch it for about 10 years. Everyone rejected it. Netflix finally picked it up. And it's like the #1 streaming show everywhere worldwide.
Yeah, that's what I love about Netflix, too. Because we were talking about how they're recently preparing to release a quarter of their streaming in Kenya for free. And start this like free tier service. And I think like part of the influence with Netflix is their ability to show like independent foreign films to a broader public. And, you know, being that Squid Games is like #1 on Netflix, it really shows what kind of opportunity there is to get more content internationally.
Right. And that something with subtitles can be #1, I think is amazing. Like I watch a lot of anime, so I'm so used to reading subtitles on things. But I know a couple people are like, oh, I would never watch something. I have to read it.
I didn't even know there were subtitles. We started watching it and it just got dubbed. And then I think it was Taika Waititi tweeted out and he goes, hey, you guys, I don't know who needs to hear this, but you can watch it and have it not be dubbed. And you can actually watch, and he's like, and it's way better. And
That's
I was like,
absolutely
there you go.
Watch it.
Yeah, I think I'm going to rewatch it like that. Sometimes we can't hear or read at the same time while our home is very busy.
You have a baby. That's understandable. I just have a cat and a dog.
See, I can't watch that type of show with my kids anywhere near.
Right.
Luckily, my kid doesn't understand it.
Well, there's an article out that it says that the subtitles are being completely botched.
Oh,
I
really?
bet that happens. Sometimes when I watch like Netflix shows in Spanish, I'm like, that's not what they said.
It's like that viral video clip of the woman doing sign language in the back that was not even words.
You're talking about
not real words at all.
She was doing the WAP.
That's what I was going to ask about.
I think she got her point across very
it was
well.
like a political press conference or a police press conference, and she's in the back just like waving her hands around. And I wouldn't have even known the difference, but everyone tweeted about it and was like, "How'd this woman get a job?" Like, it's not even accurate at all.
That's messed up. That's kind of disrespectful.
May we all go through our lives with that level of boldness to be like, I'll just get up, wave my hands, and hope for the best.
No, you got to get that check. You got to get that bag.
That money. That lady who repurposed the painting of Jesus all those years ago and ended up turning out like a baked potato.
I was just thinking about this, kind of going off of what you're saying. It's somewhat related. I was like, I'll really feel like I made it when there's someone doing sign language at my show. Because you've seen those signers at the concert.
Yeah.
They're like having a great time.
They're going hard.
And I'm like, I wonder how, accurate that is, because they have to understand everything they're hearing. And with some of the rap, what I can't understand. I can hear and I can't understand it. Yeah. And
you rap fast too.
Yeah, so I would just want to see what that looks like, keeping up with that. I don't know if I could focus on the audience. I would just be watching the girl the whole time. Like, okay, this is crazy. This is what this looks like, what I'm saying. My words look like that. That's so wild. How do you get that gig? That's like, it is such a crazy
I like
gig.
how you say that. My words look like that.
Yeah, it's like a vision. Yeah.
It's like, I dig that.
shout out. Somebody
words
come
look
in.
like.
Somebody come and sign for Whitney's next show, please.
Yeah.
I know a signer. I'll get her for
Okay,
you.
perfect.
Yeah, there's
perfect.
no one deaf in the audience. We just have a signer.
Just because she goes so hard.
Right, the hype girl.
Hi, I'm Hayley the Brave, teacher and mom by day, cosplayer and pop culture junkie by, well, also by day. I'm obsessed with all things fandom and I love to talk about it. So join me and some of my friends as we geek out about TV, movies, music, and all the awesome things that make life worth living. Listen to my podcast, 30 Nerdy and Thriving, available now on all major streaming platforms.
So clearly with Whitney here this week, we need to keep talking music. And I figured we could all just kind of talk about up and coming artists, or even artists that maybe they've been making great stuff for a while, but haven't, made it mainstream. They're on the down low, and let's just hype them up a little bit. So, Whitney, do you want to start? Who are some,
Sure.
people that you want to hype up a little bit?
Let's see. Yeah, within kind of the realm of music I'm in, this artist Rittz just dropped his album called SOS recently. And he's kind of like known for being a speed rapper and everything like that. He's kind of more associated with acts like Yellow Wolf, Tech Nine. He was signed to both of their labels, but it's pretty cool too because he actually does some screams on this album where he's doing a version of one of his songs as a rock version, and I had to listen a couple times to know it was him because I was like, wow, you can switch from this speed rap to kind of these screams, and that is a whole talent in itself.
Right?
So
Oh my gosh.
yeah, so I love it when artists kind of decide to reinvent themselves a little bit and try something else, kind of like MGK's Tickets to My Downfall, Mod's son recently putting out things with Avril Lavigne, which I think who he's dating now or whatever.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, they are.
Interesting.
They're lovers.
who was with Nickelback, Chad, what's his name? So it all
yeah.
circles
He was.
back
It
to
all
Nickelback.
comes together.
It all goes back to Nickelback.
All roads lead to Nickelback.
So yeah, definitely check all those out. All the rock rappers, man.
Very cool.
Nice.
All right, Nicole, I'm interested to hear your.
Okay.
I know there's gonna be some country. in there,
Nicole's
girl.
like,
Oh, I like
you're
that.
a resident like country expert.
Yes. So one of them is country. He might be somewhat well known. I don't know. Not very much. If you're not into country. His name is Chayce Beckham. He won American Idol the most recent season, and he is from Applewood, California, and he has one single out right now. It's called 23. And from my perspective of what I give from it is now sober, and his song is pretty much about him going through that time in his life and now being 24 and being completely sober of all of this. And it's a pretty good song. Like, it's definitely heartfelt and stuff because he talks about his mom and his dad and what they did to help him out. So I would definitely, if you like country music and stuff like that, he is going to be a great artist once he gets more songs put out.
Yeah.
I really liked him on American Idol. He was definitely my top favorite to win, and he did. So I think hopefully he's not one of those American Idol winners that kind of just falls off the face of the
I
earth.
know it's so hit and miss.
Like
with that
that,
show.
yeah.
Remember Taylor Hicks with
Yeah.
gray
Yep.
hair?
Yeah.
I voted for Taylor. Hicks back
Whatever
when I was
happened to that dude?
Yeah. So crossing my fingers that he stays true to himself and is gonna, I think he'll do very well with his
Chayce
career.
Beckham?
Yeah.
Is he
It's
related
C-
to anybody that plays soccer?
I know.
No, he never said, but he might just be keeping that low key. His name is spelled Chayce, and then Beckham is just normal Beckham.
Okay.
And
Us on
then
our toes.
yes, so if you are looking for him, that's how you spell
I
it.
didn't even know American Idol was still on.
Yeah, they restarted it a few years ago.
Okay.
Yeah, there's new judges and everything. I think.
The more you know.
Right. And then my second artist, she's really big on TikTok right now. Her name is Tate Mcrae. She is more of a pop singer. She appeared on the reality TV show So You Think You Can Dance, and her biggest hit song is going to be You Broke Me First, and it has over 700 million downloads on, which is huge for an artist like her.
Heard that song.
Yeah. Definitely it's probably my favorite song by her.
Did you discover her on TikTok?
I did. Yeah. I heard that song. She is the person who literally will only post her music on TikTok. She won't really do any other types of videos. She'll just put her music. I feel like that's how she pretty much promotes herself and her work, which is honestly a great way because she is 18 years old. So she's in that demographic where TikTok is pretty much teenagers or
It's like
people
all
me
they watch
in my
yeah.
20s and stuff listening. So I think that's a great way for her to promote herself.
Reach her
I feel like
target
Exactly.
demographic.
Yeah.
Right
that's
there.
like the wave now too. I feel like social media is really a good way to really kind of just find a fan base and like build on that. Because I mean, there's TikTok and there's like other apps too. I use Rapchat. I don't know if I've talked about it. And this other thing called Voicey. You know, I just like mess around, but
Yeah.
you know,
And Twitch, we were talking about earlier. Like, there's so many platforms.
It's so weird as an artist to see that you can go viral now for a clip of your song.
Right.
It went from
Yeah.
full
10 seconds.
albums to having a hit single to, you're famous for 10 seconds of your song. It's like they don't even know the rest of it. It's just like, I know this one line.
Yeah.
Like when All Time Low, you know, they've been around forever, but the whole like it was never a phase emo trend on TikTok. They're playing this short little clip from this All Time Low song, and now suddenly all these high schoolers are singing along to this song that has been out for a million years. And I'm like, what a weird time to be alive.
Yeah. So definitely check her out if you're into that type of music.
So who else, like who would you compare her to? You said she's pop, like Olivia Rodrigo pop?
Yeah, I would say she's kind of like an Olivia Rodrigo in a way, but more like,
Edgy.
Somber.
edgy. That's the right word. That's the right word, edgy.
Okay. Well, it's funny because like I remember like when I was in high school, I would discover music through MySpace.
Yep.
So
Absolutely.
I know, you know, it's different now, but it's still the same. Like
Yeah.
Panic at the Disco got their big break on MySpace.
That's how I found about Panic at the Disco is MySpace.
Yeah.
And they made it onto my MySpace profile when all of us were
Your
learning how to
profile
code.
song.
Right.
Profile song. Oh my gosh. Well, so one of my artists, they're local, and I discovered them on TikTok. The band's called First and Forever, and they are a pop punk emo band from Scottsdale. And the lead singer is really active on TikTok, and he will post clips of his songs, but he'll also do covers of other people's songs. But he recently went viral because he got fired from his job because his like office job or whatever said, you know, we found out that you have this TikTok and you're promoting your music and that's not professional.
Oh my God.
So he then flipped that around and was like, hey, everybody, blow up my band. It's kind of working. They've got a new single coming out called Sick Little Games. They've got like 88,000 monthly Spotify listeners. My favorite song of theirs is one called Let This Love Lie Dead. And I think too, you know, as we talk about how music is changing and stuff, I think, you know, back in the day, as they say, people used to put out full albums, and now it's like one song,
Yep.
and then one song, and then two songs, and then three songs,
And then you have an EP.
exact, and then a full album that has some of those songs on it, right? And that's kind of what they're doing. They drop a song here or there, but I would definitely, if you're into, you know, My Chemical Romance or Taking Back Sunday or All Time Low, as I mentioned, you're into that genre at all, check out First and Forever. They're really good. He's got a really good stage presence. He's a good like front man for the band. And plus, you know, that corporate culture, man.
Take down capitalism.
Stepping on the little
man.
guy. You
What's
gotta-
his name on TikTok?
You can actually just find him. He has an account for his band, so it's First and Forever,
Okay.
all one word. Yeah, but you should. He's a good follow, and he posts some funny stuff sometimes. So, but the other band, I discovered this band like the weirdest way. Okay, so I got to try to kind of explain this roundabout. But there is a band called Sub Radio that is also really active on TikTok, and they will host like live performances on TikTok. And so I was watching one of their lives, and I was like, okay, this band's like kind of okay. And that's how I feel. They're pretty okay. But I went to their Instagram, and they were like, hey, we just came to Phoenix. And I'm like, crap, missed it. So then I click on the tour. This is, you know, when you get lost in like the loop of the internet. So then I click on the tour, and one of the opening acts that they played with was a band called The Strike. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to check them out. 10 seconds into one song by The Strike, and I became obsessed. I listened to nothing but The Strike for weeks, and I cannot get enough of this band. So
What are they like? What I compare them to?
it's hard to compare them to anything because they are so unique. They are a 5-piece, kind of a synth pop band out of Utah, and they, if I'm going to compare them to something, it's like Peter Gabriel or Rick Astley. Like it's so 80s heavy. It sounded like when I first started listening to it, I'm like, did this come out of like 1984? and you guys know, like, I'm wearing my Stranger Things shirt. Like, I'm big into the 80s. I kind of feel like I wish I could go back in time, and because I was a baby in the 80s, I didn't really get to experience it. But it's some of my favorite types of music are, I call them 80s revival bands.
I love a good synthesizer. So much like goth music uses synth, and I love it.
Yeah, and you guys know, like, I love the Killers,
Yep.
and so all of that, it kind of ties in. But the guy's voice is amazing. I saw this music video with them, and I was like, I don't know what I expected him to look like, but I didn't expect him to look like a dude that would, like, sit at the cubicle next to me. But he does. But his voice is amazing. They have an amazing use of, like, horns and, you know, wind instruments and things.
I'm into that.
So yeah, they've got a song called Human Right, which was featured in the Netflix movie To All the Boys I've Loved Before that was pretty popular. And so that song kind of blew up, and it has like over 7 million downloads, but it's not their best song by any means. I would go check out Miles Ahead is my favorite. And
Is that the one that like you heard first?
yeah.
Okay.
Miles Ahead was the first one I heard, and the one that has been on repeat ever since. Overtime is their latest song, which is really good too. But I mean, you can ask my husband. He's sick of me like dancing in the kitchen to the strike. It's on all the time. My kids are like, this again? I'm like, yes, and you will like it.
I'm gonna learn today, kids.
Yeah, so I'm counting down the days until I can see them live because I'm in love. I'm absolutely obsessed. So First and Forever and The Strike are my two bands.
What an exciting feeling, like finding a new band and being like, this is it.
Yeah.
This is what I'm going to devote my time to.
And you're in it like
Yeah.
the ground level, you know, like before
Yeah.
they blow up. And every time I tweet about them, they like my tweet. And I'm like, we're friends.
I have so many times where I'll just fall in love with a band and then they break up, or like it turns out like I discovered them 10 years too late. Man, I've always loved She Wants Revenge, but really like reignited my love for them over the past couple of years. And then they freaking broke up. So hashtag sad face. My artists are two female goth dark wave singers that I've listened to the past 3 years or so maybe, and I can't find a single person who also listens to them, and they are incredible. I take that back. The first one, my friend Gabe mentioned to me, and I ended up being like, oh, okay, I'll give her a try, and she's incredible. Her name is Kanga. She is from Los Angeles. She's released multiple EPs. You can find them on Spotify. And it's really just, I mean, it's horny music. It is. I'm like, what is the best word I can use to describe this? Horny.
Is that the genre? The official?
It's horny. It's horny. Oh, yep, right there. If you just Google that or put that into Spotify. But her EPs that she's released, the first one was just self-titled Kanga, which I've played on repeat. That was in 2016. Eternal Daughter in 2019. And then this year she released You and I Will Never Die. And it's just bop after bop. It's like just so melodic and mysterious, but also just, I dance to it. I mean, it goes back and forth between danceable and songs to take your pants off to.
I was going to say, is this like a bedroom playlist? Yeah.
Yeah, but like, not like romance. This is songs that you like, you bang to. So Kanga, if you're listening, I love you. You have very bangable music.
She's like, that's exactly what I was going for.
Perfect. Finally, someone understands. The next singer, honestly, might be even more bangable too than Kanga. Her name is Ramsey.
I'm sensing a theme.
I like horny goth music.
We should have expected this one.
Kanga and Ramsey.
You
You said Ramsey or Ramsky?
Ramsey.
Ramsey.
Yes. So she is from Las Vegas. This article I pulled up from Flaunt says that she's the love child of Marilyn Manson, Lorde, and Angelina Jolie.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And honestly, I listened to this song from her when I first discovered her called See You Bleed. And her voice almost sounds ugly in this. It's just to the point, it's just so visceral. I just want to see you bleed. She's just screaming and it's just so emotional.
Like Trent Reznor.
Yes. And I listened to that song on repeat. But I mean, a lot of her songs are about taking lovers to the bedroom and just
Murdering them?
maybe both, just doing them and then killing them, or gosh. And she's so beautiful, and she's got these huge lips and these like long nails and just tattoos. And I mean, I just think that her and Kanga should go on tour together and just, man, all us
I feel like
horny goth kids dance the night away.
it's
man.
like a cold open in the waiting, like our
Sounds-
dream tour of artists. that
Yes.
we
Oh my gosh.
wanna
The
pair
two
up.
of them would be incredible together. Just feminist goth baby
I
making
haven't
music.
listened to them yet, but doesn't Kat Von D have a
She
band with her husband or something like that?
Yes.
And I would imagine, just if I'm going off looks and being completely hypocritical to everything I said earlier, then I feel like that would be the genre, everything you described, that she would
Yep.
do. But, you know, I have to give them a listen. I can't even get
They're
I
so
just
good.
know
But no,
Kat
I
Von
would
D has a band.
I would definitely compare them. I think her husband's band is called Prayers. Let me
Oh,
double
that
check.
does sound familiar.
Yeah.
But
Let me just
I know they're doing well. I think they came to Van Buren around here.
They
and-
did. They were at Van Buren
Yeah.
recently, and I wanted to go. I'm not a huge fan of Kat Von D, the person, but I mean, a lot of the music that she's been featured in, I really enjoy.
I really like her makeup.
I really like, and I do like Prayers a lot. I have a lot of their songs on my playlist.
Oh, okay. So how would you describe it?
Yes, I would describe it as dark wave.
Okay.
Yeah, so dark
what I
wave, maybe cold wave. But with Kanga, definitely some electronic vibes in there too. So things that you would dance to at like goth night in downtown Phoenix.
Okay.
I'm reading this thing that says Kanga fuses post-apocalyptic pop. So now I'm envisioning like Mad Max gets a synthesizer. You know, that's cool. I'm down.
I just gotta say, you said that if they went on tour, it'd be dancing music, but the way you described it, I don't think many people would be dancing.
They just look down and everyone's on the floor. They're doing they're doing horizontal dancing.
They're planking.
They're just planking on top of each other.
This sounds so like you. Kanga's latest tweet says the set I'll be playing this Saturday will be all anime EDM. I look forward to your attendance.
See, do you understand why I
This
love
is like
her?
the most Shauna stuff I've ever seen.
Thank you. Thank you for understanding the aesthetic.
I like these fusions of things occurring right now. Anime, EDM, like there's just no rules anymore.
There really are.
We try to categorize it all. There's just no rules.
I know. I always like, what genre is it? I'm like, oh God, all of us have struggled with that question. Just like, it's good music. That's the genre.
True.
Yeah. I've been listening to an artist named Frank Munro. And full disclosure, I actually know the guy. We actually used to work together in the Massachusetts State House.
That's cool.
It's my best friend.
And shout out to Chris Smith, too. He's a regular listener. And it used to be us three. We used to just like hang out and go to the bar down the street. But anyways,
Hell yeah.
I personally, just like as a listener, I enjoy Frank's music. Like it's pretty good. I feel like it's really good. It's kind of like storytelling, and it's interesting like the way he does it. To me, it almost feels like telling a vivid dream like through song. It's like he uses like metaphors and stuff. He like has like his own instruments. He's a songwriter. I don't think he like does the drums, but pretty much the entire thing is just him putting it together, composing it, and it's really cool. I would probably compare it to like something like, because he has like a folk vibe, but like also like Black Keys vibe. So like if like Black Keys like was doing folk, like it
I do
would,
like the Black Keys.
yeah, it'll sound like something similar to that. And a couple of the songs that I like that he has that kind of like show his capabilities like with his instruments and stuff would be Heartless Little Town and Time Lost Along the Way. And it's pretty much that, just like him setting up these stories and these feelings, like you're like walking through a beach and, you know, just like all these things that like, it's like almost like our thoughts happening. Like I said, yeah, like a
You can
vivid.
visualize it,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's he's very visual. And you know that it's a metaphor because some of the things don't even seem like they would happen in real life. But it's pretty trancy as well, like hypnotizing in a sense. And when if you're like just laying down, chilling, cooling, and just like,
It's a vibe.
it's a vibe. It's definitely a vibe. So Frank Munro, he's been making music for a while now, and he just released something recently this year, and the album was called Time Lost Along the Way. But the other person that I just recently discovered, totally not anything close to folk or like alternative, is this rapper named Emanle Ali. And I just like ran into him. Like we were talking about social media. I was looking at my friend's social media. He's a spoken word artist and he was on this radio station, and I was listening to like what he was doing, and the radio station also posted this guy Emanle Ali kind of like spitting, and I was like, yo, this is really good. Like he was like he was just laying it down, like talking about struggles, just like being black and police brutality and just things that I understand. And the further I like looked into him, I found out that he was from Boston. He's like from Mattapan, and I grew up in Boston. And I feel like this is important to me, at least, because this is the kind of Boston that most people don't ever really hear. Mm-hmm. Like, this is Black Boston. This is like my life, at least what Boston was to me, wasn't The Departed, wasn't Mark Wahlberg or
Fenway
Matt
Park.
Damon. Wasn't. Mm-hmm. I mean, my high school was across the street from Fenway Park. But other than that, it's a different Boston, and it's gritty and it's honest, and he puts that in his music, and I really appreciate it because I don't feel like there's much of that out that's like known, and he's really articulate with it, and I just love it because now I feel like I really have like something I could connect me to. And there's other Boston artists, I got an honorable mention for my boy Dorchester Hollis, also by Dot Hollis. He just got some new music out. He's a Boston artist. Cousin Stiz is probably one of like the more known Boston artists right now. Michael Christmas, Latrell James, my boy Big O, aka Flo, my man Simile, you already know, Solo, my brother, just like repping the bean all day. You already know, 617 on my chest till I die. But I love my city, and Emanle Ali, check him out. I literally just found out about him like a couple weeks ago. He doesn't have too much of a library because I've been really wanting to like look for stuff. He also goes by Jay Berna. But I think there's like I don't know if like Emanle Ali is like his alter ego or something, is more like conscious side.
Interesting.
Well, it's cool you found an artist that represents and says things that you feel, and it's like one of the first ones.
Yeah, the song that I listened to on Spotify is called Comes With the Game. And he talks about trauma, talks about his mom, suffering from substance abuse, like living in his environment, and the things that he had to do to survive. And I'm not saying like I was like out here like gangbanging as a kid or anything, but like because I lived in that environment, I had to live by the same rules. Yeah. So like I was able to, to be able to like feel that and like be able to like feel like I'm even expressed through somebody else's like words or experiences. Like I really feel that connection.
Pretty heard.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And I feel like it's important for people to know the Boston that I know.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, that's amazing that you found somebody that you can like. I lived through that too, or like
I mean, not exactly. Like, he went to jail. Never really like stayed in jail.
Like I know what you're talking about. Like that's really cool.
This is the underbelly or the dark side that no one sees.
Yeah. But it's like I said, he's gritty. He's it's East Coast rap vibe. Get that kind of like J. Cole. Even like Jay-Z sort of vibe, like because I like storytellers, and he's a storyteller too. He's a little more literal as opposed to metaphorical.
That's what I like about J. Cole too. He's a good storyteller.
Yeah. So Emanle Ali, check him out, and Frank Munro.
Awesome. And we're gonna make a Spotify playlist with a couple songs from all of these artists that we mentioned today, so people can.
Oh, that will be eclectic.
It's going to be
everywhere.
You can pick and choose.
Yeah.
Love that.
We did something similar over the summer where we had a conversation about our top summer songs, and that playlist was all over the place too, but like in a good way, and people can discover new music. So we'll make sure we post it in the Pop Culture Junkie support group so everybody can hear the songs and just not listen to us talk about the songs.
Yeah, so be sure you guys go to Facebook and join the Pop Culture Junkie support group so you get that playlist and all the other info from all of our episodes week to week.
Absolutely.
Or just all the junk we put in there.
All the memes.
There's lots of memes. There's some good stuff in there.
Memes are gold. That's not junk. Okay. That's cool.
Okay. Cool. I think that just about wraps up this episode. Thank you so much for coming, Whitney. It was so exciting to have you.
I appreciate it.
Tell the people what you got going on, what's next, and where can we find you?
Well, I am working on that new album, and then something I just kind of remembered as we were going here. I am in a movie that before COVID, it's supposed to come out on Netflix. I'm not sure with the pandemic if it's delayed it or what, but I know it is coming out this Halloween, I believe it premieres in LA this week at that Chinese theater. That's kind of like the main theater. So I'll be at the premiere of that on October 12th. But it's called Retaliators. And I'm just kind of a bit part in there. See if you guys can find me. I'm pretty unrecognizable, actually, with all the different makeup and stuff I have on. But there's a couple actors from Game of Thrones. There's actors you guys will know from Ozark.
Oh, wow.
I'm in the scene with Five Finger Death Punches in it with me. There's Escape the Fates in it. There's a lot of crazy like metal bands that make both cameos and they're on the soundtrack of the movie. So it is a horror film, and I'm excited because I remember filming for it right before kind of the tour with Rittz and Echo that I did actually in 2019, and now to see it finally, because of everything that was happening, it being wrapped up and being put out. You guys can look for it on the streaming networks. I'm pretty sure it'll be hitting like Netflix or Hulu or something like that. But again, it's called The Retaliators. And see if you see me in there. Thanks, guys.
Wow, awesome.
Always looking for a good horror movie.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's just the season.
And Whitney, where can the people find you on social media?
Christian Mingle, Pornhub.
Farmers only.
But yeah, Google Whitney Peyton. It's not Whitey Peyton. It's Whitney Peyton. I'm on Instagram, Spotify, all that fun stuff. Drop in, and I'm pretty good at responding to comments. So let me know you heard me on the podcast. That would be pretty cool.
She said, Google me.
Yeah, after I said it, I kind of had regrets. I was like, wow, that was a really narcissistic thing to say.
I'm pretty sure I said Google like a million times this
It just makes it easier for you.
No, that's awesome. I wish I could say that about myself. Be like, you could just Google me.
You can, and you'll pop up on popculturejunkie.com.
Sure, I got my mug shots known.
You are very Googleable. All right, Junkies, where can everybody find your social medias?
I'm Alex, and you can find me at ALCASNUN on Twitter and Instagram.
You can find me, Nicole, on Instagram and TikTok at Nicole_Eldridge, and on Twitter at NAEldridge14.
You can find me, Hayley, spiraling about Law and Order on Twitter at 30NerdyPod, and of course on Instagram at 30NerdyThriving.
And you can find me, Shauna, at Shauna Trinidad, Shaunatrinidad, on Instagram and Twitter. As for the Junkies, you can check us out as we record live at the Be My Secret Cars and Anime Con on October 9th at the Rawhide Events Center in Chandler, Arizona. You can also catch us on Arizona Daily Mix. We are appearing on Saturday, October 9th, and the link to our appearance can be found at aztv.com. Please visit our website, popculturejunkie.com. Go to our Facebook page, facebook.com/popculturejunkiepodcast. You can also join the Pop Culture Junkie support group that we mentioned earlier. On Twitter, we are at popjunkies, and on Instagram, we are at pop.culturejunkies. Be sure to come back next week for another hit of pop culture.
Pop Culture Junkie is a production of Pop Culture Entertainment Group. All rights reserved.